All right, we're going to break down the action of measurability in your acting activities. Now, acting activities are literally doings. These are doings that are done not only in acting exercises, these are doings that are also done in acting scenes. So we are working to be able to identify this one single component. Now, there are 5 or 6 components. I'm going to make a video on every single one of them. Measurability is one of the key components of your acting activities. And you can absolutely achieve doing these activities and being able to make sure that they are measurable. Now, your success in your acting activities is in measurability. You have to be able to know whether or not you're progressing within what you're putting your attention and focus on. And you can do that quite easily if you understand a couple of different components. Now, measurability, you are able to track the measurement. We are looking at being able to understand, can we, with what we're actually doing, can we sit down and say, this is an action that we know that if we take this action, we are going to get the measurable result. If we pick up a thread and needle, are we going to be able to take that next step and get going with the next step? And is that going to add up to be able to achieve the desired outcome? Now, we want to have a specific criteria. We want to know exactly, specifically what we're doing, and we want to know why we're doing it. But we are dealing right now with the action of measurability. Measurability is going to be the basics, the basic component that's going to be able to give our acting activity life. So in my Meisner activities books, the series of books for Meisner activities, I'm literally putting the definition of the actual activities in. Are you actually doing the definition? Are you doing one of the definitions of the actual activity? Are you doing the acting activity, or the acting doing? Are you actually doing the doing of the activity? And you can see really clearly. If you start to work on your activity and you go back and you read the definition, are you actually seeing that you're actually achieving that measurable, specific criteria? Now, you want to do this effectively, putting your energy towards doing the goal. This is effectively. That means that you've thought out processes. You've already know you have to pick up the needle first. You have to thread the needle before you actually put the needle through the garment. This is part of knowing exactly what you're doing. You want to not waste. You sometimes waste a little bit of time trying to figure a couple things out, but you're not going to have the majority of your time trying to work on the process. You're going to literally know the process of what you put your energy towards something, that you're going to be able to achieve it. With a determined concept is a part of this whole thing with measurability. You want to have a determined concept. Now, that means that you're going to have an outlook of what you think that's going to look like when you finish that activity. You may not know it 100%, but the clearer you have an idea about what that is, the better you're going to be able to link all of these different components. Now, there's like 5 or 6 components of acting activities, and this is one piece of it. This is measurability. Now, you want to ensure that you have progress. Now, that means that you've got to have things in order, and you want to be setting the function to a desired outcome. You're going to be clear that you're going to have the outcome actually working, and it's going to work for you. Okay, now there is something I want to suggest here, which is a brilliant thing. Now, when you're doing your activities, I'm going to go through 3 different examples of these kinds of different activities. When you're doing these activities, you want to be absolutely sure that you've got measurability covered. This is not something that you want to have as a questionable. You want to be able to have it covered. Now, if you want to really be sure about your classroom work or your scene work for your acting activity, what you do is you do 60% of your acting activity on your own. And I suggest that you do that in different places. You go into your bedroom, you go into your living room, you go possibly, it depends on the activity. Maybe you can go outside and work on it outside and do a little bit of the activity. You want to work on the activity in 2 or 3 or 4 different places, and you want to get 60% of it done. You don't want to just start out fresh. You want to be able to, now this is a brilliant brilliant tip on how to be able to achieve measurability in acting activities and Meisner activities. You really want to be able to bring in your best work where you're most focused, and you're able to say, yeah, now I want to be able to really give a go at getting this activity complete. And you get yourself 60% of your activities outside of your acting classes and outside of your acting scenes, and you bring in the last 40% to complete, you're going to have the best part of the acting exercises that are going to be happening, and you're going to have the best part of your acting scene work happen actually with that part of the activity. So let's look at 3 different examples. Now, it could be you, it could be your daughter, it could be your son. They are preparing for a cheerleading competition. They have just been given the badge for cheerleading, and the cheerleading example is you're really proud of them. They won something to be able to make themselves captain of the cheerleading team, and you've got to be able to sew on the badge of the cheerleading team on their uniform. Now, you could, like many different people, say, great, you're ready to be able to come to that activity. You've got the C to throw on or whatever in signal to represent that they're the captain of the cheerleading squad. You've got your thread, you've got your needles, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Or you could be advance yourself, which is in a really appropriate way, even if you're a beginner, and you can start getting that activity done. And realize how to make sure you really know how to get that done, and then get half of it done, and then bring the remaining half, or at least get it started, and then you have everything ready to go so that you can just jump right into getting that activity, and your concentration is gonna thank you. You're gonna be able to figure out ways of being able to adjust your concentration when you work in the different environments, which is a whole nother topic. Now, I've seen over 8,000 acting exercises. So I get flooded with all sorts of different examples and ideas every time I talk about certain ingredients. But this is measurability of acting exercises, or measurability in Meisner exercises. The next one example I have here is dyeing your hair. You are going to go to a sports best fan competition, and you're going to dye your hair half one color, half another color, and you're going to get all done for that sports competition to be able to go and win the best fan. And for some reason, this is something that's really meaningful to you, and we're going to deal with the other criteria first, but we're just right now looking at measurability. A lot of times, the doing of the activity will bring out the emotion. Now, that's brilliant, and it's exactly the truth. So now, dressing up as Dracula is the third example for this. You want to dress up as Dracula, full makeup. Maybe you're not into Dracula. If you are, or you're not, you pick something that's actually that you could be really excited about, that you can go and audition for. You're going to be a shoo-in for the competition if you show up to that audition actually dressed in full makeup with fangs and everything as Dracula, and you know that you can get this done and be motivated. Now, you show up as Dracula, and the likeliness of you getting the acting role is going to be, oh, you really think that you have a really, really good chance of being able to do this. So this is something that you can measurably achieve. So when we deal with acting activities, we are dealing with circumstances that we can measurably do ourselves, something that others can be able to, like audiences are going to look at us, and they are going to see us involved in a doing. They're going to see us involved in doing something that's at this point, we're dealing with the measurability. There's obviously, we can add other components, and check out the other videos. We're going to go through every single component of this. And we want to, the audiences will look at us and see how it means stuff to us, see how we're activated through all this. We're going to see that we were able to measure the progress, because the audience is able to see the progression that we are doing even throughout our acting scenes. As we're doing our acting scenes and we're also doing an activity, it's going to amplify their interest in us as an actor. And this is the whole point, and this is the reason why directors are missing the boat right now. They're not doing enough of these. But we're going to catch up and make sure that this becomes more mainstream. And that's our jobs as actors, is to bring out the best acting techniques to be able to make things go mainstream, that are going to bring out the most of our talent. But we've got to do this specific ways, and that's why a very, very big tip here is to make sure that you do 60% of your acting activities at home with even your friends auditioning or your classmates audition with your classmates. You bring them over, you're working this thing, and then when you bring it in, sometimes you can bring acting activities, measurable activities into your auditions, which would be great if you could. But just make sure you get this done, because this is going to be something you can 100% absolutely achieve. Thanks.